everyone. I'm Kit Bowen, and welcome to another edition of the Creation Entertainment Podcast. Today's show, we're going to do a Pop Culture Cinema Squad deep dive into season 3 of Apple TV's Foundation. Me and Adam Malin, we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk all about Foundation, and of course, Adam being the Foundation expert, he'll give you some insights into season 3, which was really ended on a huge note, and we can't wait for season 4. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to like and subscribe, and tell your friends about the podcast. We'd love to have you. We'd love to hear your comments as well. So stay tuned.
The empire crumbles. A mind-bending twist reshapes the mule, and Earth finally re-enters the chat. I'm Adam Malin, joined by the illustrious Kit Bowen, and this is the Creation Entertainment Sci-Fi Cinema Squad, giving you the deep dish on Foundation Season 3. Kit, we're back together again.
Yes. Yay. Finally, it's been a little while.
It's been a while, and we're both kind of percolating off of the fabulous season finale of Foundation Season 3.
Unbelievable. Yeah. This was again, you can fill in stuff that I might miss, but it was a little hard to follow. They have all been kind of a little hard to follow. There's a lot of stories going on, and who's asleep, who's awake.
But we're going to try and deconstruct this season 3, which began July 11th and ended on September 12th. And we're first going to kind of cover what the season kind of broke down, which is, first of all, that we had a time jump, Kit, about 150 years after season 2. And, they just kind of get into their cryo sleep. And then the next thing you know, it's like, a century or two later.
Well, here's the thing. So Gail and Harry are on this, I guess it's sort of a secret second foundation, right? That's kind of what that planet is.
Yeah. Over that 150 years, we saw the.
But they'd wake up periodically to check in.
On purpose. Of course, Harry is really pretty well much now in a simulacrum. So he doesn't really age. His physical body and clone, I think, are both gone at this point. And he actually wants to get put into a new body. But Gail.
But the bodied Harry, who's with Gail, and they kept waking up, he decides not to go back to sleep. So then when she finally wakes up again, he's an older dying person. So.
Right. That was in the end of season 2, though.
No, that was in this season.
Oh, that was in this season. Okay. Well, so, but he still wants to kind of be put back into a new body. Having said that, over this 150 years, we've seen the empire weaken, particularly in the outer reach, and the foundation has bloomed and influenced. But Harry and Gail foresaw the collapse of the first foundation. And so secretly, they, and Gail in particular, have been working to create a new hidden second foundation.
Right.
And in her visions, there is this being, the mule, a telepath of great power who becomes a galaxy-wide threat. And such a threat, in fact, that when the Prime Radiant is activated, Prime Radiant seems to be showing a future ending.
Yeah.
There's like
basically the end of the world, right? Yeah.
It's darkness, and darkness definitely is one of the main motifs of this season, particularly the climax of the season, as we're going to get to. But one of the main arcs of the season clearly is this battle between Gail preserving and keeping the second foundation hidden, and her battle against the mule, as well as kind of the fracturing and perversion of, as if it wasn't perverted already, the Cleonic dynasty.
Right.
And, poor Demerzel's kind of position in all this is sort of refigured, because we've always felt that, in a certain sense, she's the power behind the throne.
Right.
And she controls things, but really she's a slave and a prisoner to the Cleonic dynasty.
Yes.
She, on one hand, has the great Isaac Asimov, whom we adore. For those of you that are just joining us, Isaac was a guest at creation events for about a decade until he passed away when we were first running shows. And we wish that Isaac was alive now to see what a gorgeous job David Goyer and all of his showrunners and team have done. Roxanne Dawson, our friend from Star Trek, on Foundation. But really, the Asimov laws of robotics are not exactly counterintuitive, but they kind of fight against each other because Kit, as you know, a robot can't harm a human.
Correct.
But the preservation of the human species overrides that directive. So Demerzel has no problem with killing any poor, unfortunate humans that get in the way of her fulfilling the overriding directive.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
so and it also is her undoing because in trying to protect somebody, of course, at the end of the season, again, spoiler alert, you've
Yeah,
shown
lots of spoilers, guys.
um, the catastrophic and tragic end of Demerzel, or is she gone? We're
Well,
we're we're going to
okay,
get
so
into
so if we're gonna focus on Denver's, right this very second. So
sure.
her mission's always been to protect the Empire, to protect all the factions of it.
Protect the human race, but at the same time, in preserving and protecting the Cleonic dynasty, which
Right,
she is enslaved to,
right,
there is some sort of there is
right.
some programming tension within her.
Right. So basically, as we start in this season, we've got we've got brother Don, played by Cassian Bilton. Great. He's actually now going to he's been enlisted by Gale to try to help convince, both Foundation and Empire try to work together to beat the mule. That's his thing. And
Well,
then
let
we've
me
got,
stop you for just a second because it is fascinating how this generation of the Cleonic dynasty is so different than previous ones.
yeah,
You've
exactly.
got Dawn, who now is actually going to potentially go against the Cleonic dynasty
Right.
for the actual altruistic preservation of the overall galactic order, and
Yes.
working with Gale, who is ostensibly kind of an enemy of the Cleonic Empire, but not entirely, because I
Yeah.
think the Cleonic Empire also recognizes that Gale and the Foundation are a kind of a counterbalance that helps keep the galaxy's uh, social tension kind of balanced.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So they're working together. So that's the
Yeah.
first of that kind of thing. And then you've
By the
got
way,
brother.
Lulu Bell as Gail Dornick
Yeah,
is
she's
such a fabulous actress.
so
She's
good.
really risen up to sort of be the anchor of the series.
Yeah,
I mean, I know we talk a lot about Jared and the Harry Seldon character, but I do think that Gail has kind of become the central figure in the saga.
100%.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got brother Dunn. Then we have brother Day, the great Lee Pace, who's always so great.
A
This
great lead pick.
particular brother Day has gone rogue. He's like, I'm out, man. I don't want to deal with any of this
He's gone to seed.
BS. He's gone to seed. Yeah. He goes, I don't want to deal with any of this BS.
But
He
he,
hates Demerzel. He hates Empire. He falls in love with what he thinks is this woman who's committed to him. But we come to here's where I'm going to get to the Demerzel part. Comes to find out she's part of a kind of a subset of the Foundation called the Inheritance, right?
well,
And
yeah,
they
we're going to talk about them because they are a cult of the robot.
right.
But before we get to that, let's just say that the Great Lee Pace has so many different ways of this character, and in this
Yes.
incarnation of
Yes.
Brother Day, he's a tragic figure because
Yes.
he actually wants love. He's rejecting the perversity of the Cleonic dynasty, and he actually wants love, and is, but that's not allowed because any kind of consort of the empire is destined to have their memory erased after some amount of time,
Yeah.
so that he can never really have a lasting relationship. And also this dramatic tension with Demerzel. Yeah, he hates her and he wants to escape her, but ultimately through the end of the season, he kind of wants to become a savior to her.
Yeah, because this other subsect thing, whatever the Inheritance, the robot fall worshippers, they have a skull basically a Demerzel skull.
Yes,
So
we're
she
going to
always thought
talk
she was
about
the
it.
last one of her kind,
Brazen head. We're going to talk about it.
but
That head.
she is not the last of her kind. We have this thing, and then at the very end, it's somehow activated. So
Well,
I
we're
thought,
going to talk all, we're going to talk about that because I mean the end cap of the season,
yeah,
that dramatic reveal of the moon and the earth, blew my mind. So we'll get to that. But let's just talk for a minute about the mule,
yes,
or ostensibly the mule, because of course things are not what they seem. But
nope.
Pilu Aspect, how fabulous is he?
Well, I've loved him. He's plays good bad guys, I have to say. Game of Thrones, he was great on that.
Wonderful on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he's particularly menacing as the mule in this. The main villain, I would say, for this particular whole season. He's able to, like you said, he's able to have this ability to what they say convert people. So he can make someone do whatever he wants them to do, and just by using his mind. However, there is a faction to it that's interesting. There's a character called Magnifico, right? Magnifico.
Magnifico, Magnifico. Yes,
Magnifico.
who wields that musical instrument
So
that.
that actually helps enhance whatever he wants to try to do to get people to do what he,
Yes, but we're going to talk about Magnifico because I do have a theory about him, but we'll get to that.
yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, so he's very, it's horrible. It's horrible what he does. He's just, he just completely decimates armies and ships, and he gets all these people under his control, and he
but
says, "Okay, I'd like you to drown yourself," and they'd say, "Okay, it's my pleasure to do so." And then yeah, it's just horrible.
it reminds me of cults on the earth, like Reverend Jim Jones, where everybody
Yes.
thinks that they're loved and,
Yep.
all this positive, kind of endocrinal response that is creepy. And
Yeah.
also, I thought there were some great other characters this season. One character, Ebling Miss, the great Alexander Siddig. Uh,
Yes.
it's great to see him. And then, of course, we have Beta and Torin Mallow. And Beta, of course, is going to be a very important character later in the
Yeah,
season.
so when we're first introduced to them, they're kind of like a freewheeling, young couple just married, but they're rich and they can do whatever they want and they don't care
Right.
about anything. And so you were like, why are we so attached to this two? But then they become very important. Yes, they
They,
do.
they do. And then, of course, again, we have this second foundation. I get a little confused about where the second foundation is hiding. Is it hiding in the library?
Well, it looks like a planet, but maybe it is in the library. I
Um,
don't know.
I also don't exactly understand the ninth level of folding in time and space, but that has something to do with that triangular book that Demerzel has that she had placed into the library. I
Yes.
think it's got something to do with that. But again, that's for greater minds than mine. And I hope our viewers will, put in comments and also, help them.
Somehow that must be connected to what happens next, as far as because Cherry Jones plays a great character. She plays an ambassador who kind of falls for. We haven't talked about Brother Dusk yet.
Oh yeah,
Who they have
Treasury
like
Jones.
they have a little thing, but apparently Demerzel gives her the access to whatever this thing is
Yeah.
in the library, right? Yeah. So
Yes, and we're going to talk a lot about Brother Dusk because, of course, one can argue that he is the actual big villain of the
yep,
season. Ultimately,
Terrence Mann, what a great performance! Wow.
he's amazing. Now, so Gail has considerable mental powers, and she's working with the Mentalics, and
Yes.
she's slowly been building these mental powers. And this is sort of her hedge, against the influence of the mule. And she's actually also able to influence security guards and others and make them see alternate realities, which
Yep.
helps her in, kind of providing escapes from some very difficult situations. I did want to mention that in Brother Day's arc, when he flees the palace, going against Demerzel's wishes, and he ends up with that cult and encounters that wacky guy who's the bearer of the brazen head.
Yes. Very, he's a great British actor too. I'm blanking on his name, but he's been in a few things as well. I like him. He's in Gilded Age actually, so
So this is the first time that we see any kind of archaeological evidence of another robot.
right.
It's a robot head, and in fact, it is activated. And later on, we're going to be hearing about something called the clasp, which is where the robots can connect over space and time
Right.
and tell each other that they're still alive. Because this
Right.
could have been kind of an end game from when the robots were all basically wiped out. They had a system to be able to communicate to each other to let them know that some of them are still alive.
Right, right. So what happens is Brother Day, he's sort of imprisoned by this whatever cult it is, and sees that it's like on the skull's like on a staff kind of thing, and he is able to escape and take this with him. So when he brings it to Demerzel, he says, "Look, look, I was wrong. All whatever. I respect you. Here, this is." Something from an ancient thing. And she's like, well, I can't activate this because if I do, then it might override my primary,
Yeah,
objective, which is
she can't do it because she's programmed
right,
to protect the dynasty.
right.
I enjoyed the fact that they dropped Brother Day down into that kind of garbage.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of Star Wars,
Yes.
Han and Luke being in that garbage compactor.
Yep. Absolutely. That was gross.
That was pretty fun. Um, so yeah, I think that Demerzel, as you're saying, she doesn't want to activate the brazen head. But of course, that being activated is going to be one of the keys to the whole season.
Yes. Yes.
Um, let's talk a little bit about psychohistory itself and how, you can predict the future. This goes back to the whole thing of is the future set in stone or
Right.
is there free will?
Right.
Kit,
Right.
any philosophical thoughts about that yourself, since everybody seems to be grappling with that these days?
Well, I mean, certainly with this narrative for the foundation, it's all a mathematical situation, right? So when Harry and Gail first meet and she's sort of a prodigy, it's all a mathematical equation that they come up with
Well,
of
I mean, that's statistical probability.
yes.
Can we
Yes.
change our future, Kit?
Yeah.
I'm asking you to tell the viewers now your wisdom.
I absolutely think you can change the future. Absolutely. I don't think it's all set in stone. I
But
mean, I
that's
don't know.
one of the
I don't know if
things.
I necessarily believe in fate, but I certainly believe in universal possibilities. So like if you put something into the universe in your own mind, then maybe, things might happen that way. But I think if there's some sort of predestined future, I don't believe that it can't be changed. Yeah.
Well, exactly. And I think that that's the central hypothesis that Gale has to fight against. They're looking at the prime radiant, projecting
Right.
that the future ends.
Right.
And I mean, or even coming from out of like the Terminator saga, is the future set in stone, or can our own free will actions save the future?
Right. And
Save
then
the
you've also got the philosophical idea of the butterfly effect. So if, with so many movies where they go back in time and they try to do something, but if you change one thing, that could affect a thousand other things to come in the future. So there's also that aspect.
And I also think that the third season really helps to underline the whole concept of the Cleonic clone dynasty as a perversion itself.
Yes.
And that it's a brittle one because as we saw at the end of the season, that a galactic empire can all be wiped out by the actions of one person, particularly if that's Empire himself, as in Brother Dusk.
Yeah. That was just crazy. Well,
Uh,
first of all, I can't remember. I think that doomsday machine or whatever it is that he uses. Was that from the previous season too? Had that been introduced? I think it had,
Yeah,
right?
just a little bit. We're talking about the black hole that he controls,
Yes.
which is sort of like the Foundation Death Star.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
thing, that thing is fabulous. I'd love to have that thing and aim that at some of our adversaries, right? Just like, it is a monster. It's a perversion and a monstrosity, which really reveals the depths that Dusk will go to. But this sort of brings us to this final episode, The Darkness, which is just
It's just
so incredible. So many great moments, but I did love that moment when Mule is finally got Gale in his in his hands and he's trying to choke her. And, they go into this mind battle.
Yep. I loved it.
And, Gail has been in cryosleep, for like 152 years. She has been preparing for this and girding herself mentally, creating these compartments in her mind where she can go to battle with this guy. And by the way, the mule's backstory, where his parents were willing to let him die in exchange for their daughter, also is a bit of a motivation
Yeah.
guide to the mule being as screwed up as he is.
Yes.
But
But we come to find out something different, though, don't we?
yes,
So,
we do. But meanwhile, Gale does overwhelm him and is slits his throat, which is pretty incredible.
yep. Yep. And
So
you're
now,
like, oh my gosh, this is it. And then, but then it's like, it's like any kind of vampire movie where you haven't killed the main vampire guy. I still feel it. I still feel it. What's going on? I still feel it.
Beta Mallow, which is just like unbelievable after all that. Sweet, innocent Beta, just who seemed kind of like a sort of a Valley Girl
Right.
sort of character. Who could have suspected that she could have been the one? But
She
here,
is. She's the mule. So this is what I hope they
is she?
explain. What happened? How, so she's had the other guy under her control the whole time.
But is she? Is she the mule? Or could there be another who is even further behind the scenes, sort of like Doctor Doom playing that chessboard with all the different characters and Nick Fury, where, Nick Fury is fighting, let's say, the Yellow Claw and then all these other characters. And then finally, when the game is over, it's revealed that Doctor Doom is actually really the big bad. Thanks, Jim Steranko, for a great
Well,
storyline.
I think it would be a little bit too much if they say, no, actually, no, she's not. It's this, you know what I'm saying? Because we have been
Well,
led to believe that Pilo was the bad guy the whole time, and now we've got Beta as the one who's been controlling it from the
this
beginning.
is my theory, and my theories are always proven right. Let me tell you, they're wrong 99% of the time, but what if it's Magnifico?
Ah,
Think about it. Magnifico can influence the minds of millions and amplify them through his instrument. He seems like a tool, right?
well, here. I like that theory, and he
Yeah.
probably is the
Could
instigator.
be.
But I think
Could be.
he's still simple-minded, so he needs somebody else to help him, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean,
he
but
needs
we thought
another.
that we thought that Beta was simple-minded too. Things are not always as they seem.
Well, I didn't think she was simple-minded. I just thought she was very self-serving. I
Okay.
thought she was kind of smart. She was just, basically, I just want to live the way I want to live and play and do and whatever. So that's how I saw her.
Well described, but
Yeah.
again, I think the ball is still out on who the main villain
That
is.
was a big one. That was a biggie. I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And then so she's like, okay, Gail, nice try. But I'm gonna put you under my control now. So I'm gonna convert you. And he starts to play the music and it doesn't work because Gail's the smart one. She's the one who kind of pre-programmed. That's why I don't know if it's Magnifico or not, because she sort of pre-programs him. So the music
Well,
he
that's what
plays,
that's what she thinks.
yeah, but the music she doesn't, Beta isn't able to control Gale. So,
That may not be his intention.
hmm,
We don't know what the mule's end game is.
that's true.
One can argue that the mule's motivation, you have a decadent, Cleonic empire. They're kind of screwed up. And even the foundation has proven to be corrupt,
Yes.
filled with special interests that are all bickering amongst themselves.
Yes.
So
As is always, that's kind of the
trying to
nature
organize the
of politics.
galaxy, who can say really what is right and what is wrong? I wanted to turn our attention a little bit to this incredible showdown between Brother Day and Brother Dusk.
Yes.
Now, Brother Day hasn't really thought everything through. When he confronts his brother, he had already taken the life-saving nanites out of his body.
Right.
Why would you do
Big
that?
mistake.
Why
Huge.
would you do that? I mean, especially when you're putting yourself in continual danger, even if you think you're an avenger for good, I mean, why would you take away that competitive edge?
Right.
You know.
Right.
Um,
Not smart. Not
meanwhile,
smart.
meanwhile, throughout the season, we have Demerzel, holding this ascension thing over Brother Dusk's head.
Right.
It's the Cleonic dynasty's destiny that at a certain point, Brother Dusk has to bite the dust in the disintegrator ray.
Right.
I mean, who wants to go? Nobody wants to do that. So it doesn't really surprise me that, exercising his own free will, the Dusk would like, want to get past that.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's get into it right now. I
Come
was
on.
absolutely floored by this.
All
So,
right.
all along, Dusk has been like, well, I'm gonna go. I got my last few days. He has this little fling with Cherry Jones's character, and he's like, and then these factions come to him and say, hey, we're gonna have to, I think in order to, whatever, pacify the mule, we're gonna give up Trantor or whatever the name of the planet is that
Yeah, yeah, the home
Trantor,
world,
their home world.
our home world.
Sorry, Dusk, but we're gonna have to give up your home world in order to placate this guy. And he's like, well, I don't know. He goes, well, there's no discussion. It's happening. And Dusk's like, okay, well, and then he has this conversation with the mule and he offers that, and then the mule's like, whoa, I can't believe you're gonna. And then he goes, oh, nope, sorry, deadline's passed. This is what's
Yeah,
really gonna happen.
yeah. And by the way, I wouldn't do that for a person whose name is named after a farm animal.
That's right. That was a great line. Oh my gosh.
But
Anyway,
then what
so yeah,
happened?
so then he turns around, he literally destroys these three, whatever they were, part of this council, whatever. He destroys each one of their own,
Galactic Council,
huh?
Cloud Dominion,
Yeah.
and the Illuminists.
Yep. Just destroys them with his doomsday machine.
Sort of reminded me of Princess Leia's home planet with
Yes.
Star.
Yes, it's a definitely a Death Star situation.
Yeah,
And so then, Terry Jones is like, holy crap, what the heck's going on?
looks like my
And
boyfriend.
Dust
My
and
boyfriend is
Dust
some good marriage material.
No, not really. Not at all. I think I've backed the wrong horse here. Anyway, so then he goes into the chamber where all the clones and everything, and he
Wow.
literally destroys every single clone and everything that could possibly further along the Cleonic Empire there. Destroys it all. Bodies,
Well, and then
blood, and bodies just raining down from wherever they are supposed to be. Just destroys it all.
well, first of all, yeah, he blows up everything in the chamber there, and I thought that that was enough of an atrocity. But then he goes into the vertical tube, where I guess you look up and you've got thousands more clones, up in that long
Yeah,
tube. And so, I mean, this is almost like
that's what I'm talking about. So he literally kills all, and it's just raining down body parts and blood. It was like, yikes!
Carrie.
It was unbelievable. And then he takes
Oh,
the
great.
baby. So I guess the baby's like the original clone or whatever, right? Or something like the baby,
Poor little Cleonic baby.
poor little bionic baby.
Yeah.
Then he takes the baby, and then here comes Demerzel, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, this is it. I'm gonna take over. I'm thinking I'm gonna last. I think I'm gonna stick around for a little while longer." And then that was horrifying. So the whatever the thing is that would burn him as day dusk, that he would then ascend to whatever. Instead, he's put the baby in the middle there, and then Demerzel covers the baby, and they both end up burning up to death.
May I just say that for anybody that's endured crying babies on airplane flights as much as I have, are we sure
That
that
was
that's
horrible.
such a terrible move on Brother Dusk's part?
Just awful. So anyway,
I jest, of course.
yes, but here we are. So Dusk's like, yeah, I'm gonna stick around for a little while and do some bad
But
stuff. And
the end of Demerzel is so tragic,
so tragic.
haunting. Poor Demerzel. I mean, she was such a great character.
Yeah, well, I think she's coming back. Let me just say that.
Well, we get to talk about the brazen head sent
Raising head,
signal,
boop, eyes open up.
and we will talk about the clasp reaching the moon. We'll get to
Yes,
that.
yes.
I guess my question is, could Demerzel have also transferred her consciousness via the clasp to some other robot entity somewhere thereby allowing her to come back in some form in the future.
Well, I think maybe it's the brazen head. No, you don't think maybe she somehow transferred herself into that?
Well, I mean, maybe she's in the brazen head, but I mean, the head can't be walking around. The head's got to have a body.
Well, as I'm saying, is somehow it'll have to, replicate itself. So somewhere, somebody, maybe it's the Cherry Jones character, will take it and have it reanimated, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? That could be.
I think it's very, very much possible. But of course, the brazen head does make contact with completely unknown to us on the moon. Now, first of all, for those of us that didn't really remember the character Callie, that's Harry Seldon's wife, I think, right?
Right. Right. Yes. Yes.
Been
Yes.
popping up off and on through the series, but there she is on the moon, and standing behind her, a rather intimidating looking, robot, scary looking dude. And look at them. They're on the moon. First of all,
Looking at Earth.
what a revelation that there are robots on the moon, which I've predicted for years, by the way. I think that,
They're
but
there now.
yeah, they've been there all along. But I mean, yeah, so is Callie a person? Is Callie a robot, an AI? What is Callie?
Well, I think she could be kind of like the Harry Seldon, because he's also sort of a free floating AI hologram, right? And he's the one who wants to try to find a body again. So she could be either have found a body and that's where she
Oh,
is. Or I don't know.
I mean, I love the actress Rowena King. I think it would be great to have her, move into the next season.
Yeah.
And of course, by the way, right around the time of the airing of the season finale, season four was greenlit. So we are going to have a season four, thank God, so that you and I can dish endlessly on the next season when the time comes. But yeah, I think that seeing this robot and seeing Callie on the moon really offers up a vision. Well, first of all, what's going on Earth? I guess, millennia ago, we left Earth.
Right.
Yeah, after the Great Robot War, the planet was laid to waste. Or maybe the robots now control the Earth. Now, again, I don't want to get into spoilers from Asimov novels. I'm trying to keep this pretty pure to this to television series for
Right.
those that haven't kind of read through all the Asimov novels. But we don't know what's on Earth, and I think getting back to Earth, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Battlestar Galactica too. It was all about Caprica,
Yes.
but the
They were
human
always trying
species
to get back.
all
Yep.
comes from Earth. And so finding out what the fate of Earth was and then bringing that back into the Foundation storyline is very, very exciting.
Hey, you know what? I just thought of something.
Yeah.
Maybe Gale will be the next mule. Maybe Magnifico is the one sort of playing the strings, and he's decided that Gale's a better mule than Beta.
And again, their purposes, even though, again, so many died in the process of trying to reposition power in the galaxy, maybe the overriding job is a benevolent one.
Yeah.
Perhaps the people that were chosen to be the tools of the mule, in this case, Pilu's character,
Yeah.
are not, they're malevolent and they are not benevolent, but maybe the overall purpose that the mule has been trying to achieve is one of achieving galactic rebalance.
Yeah.
So we don't know that, but I mean, Gale could be a good candidate.
Right.
And again,
Actually, I'm sort of on board with Magnifico. He's the
yeah,
one pulling the strings. So maybe he didn't like the one mule. He's like, oh, I like Beta because remember she was so nice to him.
yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
And so then he meets Gale and he's like, she's so you're right. It could be. It very well could be.
But I think Magnifico is definitely a part of this. And I also think that the robots, now knowing the sequence of events of what's gone down, they're now aware, I mean, via the clasp, ostensibly, if they got Demerzel's story transmitted to them, they know now about the perversion of galactic control with the Cleonic dynasty, the breakdown of these foundations and counterbalance social structures in terms of the overall social goodwill of the galaxy. And I think the robots are deciding that the time has come for them to once again involve themselves more closely in the affairs of humanity. Again, I think going back to their original programming, which was to somehow be the conservators and benefactors of humanity, whether
Right.
humanity likes it or not. And
You're gonna take this robot.
Asimov, in his infinite wisdom, was dealing with the issues of AI, self-control. Are we as a species really properly emotionally and socially conditioned to evolve and advance ourselves socially in the face of our technological change? These questions that are 60, 70 years old are more pertinent today than they've ever been.
Of course. Of
Um,
course.
and
I mean,
by the
look,
way,
film and television have been talking about AI for a long, long time, from Terminator to what you say, Isaac Asimov, everything. It's like I'm just hoping people are paying attention because,
well,
doesn't always work out so well for us.
we created the technology, but are we really in a social and an emotional position to manage ourselves, much less the technology that we created? No less than the great Time magazine has described just in the last week of this final episode, Darkness of Foundation, as a funeral dirge.
Oh,
And I think that's a great way to frame the season as well as the episode.
yes, yes.
Just as a
I
side
feel
note,
like we are going to be, this next season will be sort of a brand new world kind of thing, I mean,
yeah.
we've seen the build, we've seen the slow builds of these factions, and now everything's disintegrated, so it's like starting anew. So it'll be
Uh,
interesting.
yes, indeed. And just as a little bit of a literary spoiler alert, Beta is not the ultimate mule in the Asimov. Actually, she was
Oh,
never the mule in Asimov's books.
okay.
So this is a plot decision of David and the TV series team to diverge in that manner. And I do not question this team because I mean they're brilliant writers and storytellers, but
Yep.
it is interesting that it kind of diverges a bit with Isaac's vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
think we need to do a pop-up at our Trek Vegas show for Foundation. What do you say, Adam?
I'm begging you, Kit, make it so. Let's talk a little bit about the production of the series, which is so
Oh,
brilliant. And again, probably the director with the most episodes is our own Roxanne Dawson, B'Elanna Torres of Star Trek Voyager, who, of course, Roxanne has become a major director in her own stead, carving a way through amazing television work and is one of the executive producers of Foundation and directed some brilliant episodes from the season. But I guess there were budget pauses and strikes and different things that kind of slowed down the making of the series. But it is amazing how they persevered through all that and came up with, such an incredible season.
definitely. I mean, it is visually still stunning, stunning what they do. All the different places that they go to, and even those giant wheel things, I guess, which were like grain harvesters of some,
Very cool.
they were very cool.
Really, and also is Gail, I think as you suggested, if Gail moving forward, is she going to really follow, the plan that psychohistory as espoused by Harry? Is she going to play that out, or is she going to write her own plan to,
Well,
to
I
carve
think
out the destiny of the future?
I think she's probably going to plan or do her own thing because, she already kind of used Harry, well, the holographic Harry, I should say, in a way too, because she promised him a body and then she's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. And so I think you know,
Yeah, that was
she
disappointing.
ultimately is for the good. I don't think that'll change in her. I don't think she'll suddenly become evil, or whatever, use this to the detriment, but certainly she's got her own plans, I think.
And to that effect, really, as we get ready to close this analysis, which was so much fun, Kit. Really,
Because I really just saw it too, so it's so fresh in my mind.
I guess
I
the
texted
question
you.
is,
I texted you right away. I go, "What happened? What?"
is psychohistory the future written in stone, or will free will change the future and, for that matter, bring about a better future, a worse future?
Well, future's already been changed. She saw the mule taking over. She saw the mule killing her, you know? I mean, that was what she saw, and that didn't happen. So things
Right,
have already changed.
right. Well, it's enough to fry the brain. And
But
I
if
hope,
there are any of you out there, foundation people out there, please let us know what you guys thought about this because it was pretty spectacular and where you think it's going to head, you know, in the next season, what's going to happen. So let us know in the comments and like and subscribe and definitely let your friends know about this one if you have other friends out there who love the show.
yeah, and by all means, if we got any of this wrong, let us know. We're trying to follow this continuity as best as we can, but it's a sticky wicket, but a brilliant, brilliant third season. Congratulations to the cast and crew. And sci-fi fans everywhere, I think, are so grateful to have this wonderful work that adds to the canon of great television science fiction.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
Kid, I really enjoyed this analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam.
Kit Bowen, I'm Adam Allen, and thanks to everybody for viewing the Creation Entertainment Pop Culture Cinema Squad or Sci-Fi Cinema Squad, depending upon where you are at the particular time. Anyway, thanks, Kit.
Take
Thanks,
care,
folks.
everybody. Bye-bye. So yes, definitely loving Foundation. We can't wait for season 4, which I believe has been greenlit. So look forward to that on Apple TV. And what we've got coming up, we've got a 2-show weekend coming up on October 25th and 26th. We've got a Vampire Diaries fan convention in Orlando with Ian Somerhalder and Paul Wesley. And we also have a Salute to Cobra Kai event in Chicago at the Westin O'Hare in Chicago. So if you're fans of either one of those shows and you're in that area, definitely come check it out. Plus, we've got more podcasts coming up, including a look at Alien Earth, the first season of Alien Earth from creator Noah Hawley. So definitely tune in for that. Thanks, everybody. And again, subscribe and like, and let us know what you think about Foundation or anything else sci-fi related. We'd love to hear your comments. So definitely leave them below. And thanks, everyone, for joining. Bye-bye.